What's up, fuckers? What's up,
going
players?
on?
How's it going, guys? Another great week of fantasy football passed in our league. We are the
Great.
well-mannered cartel. We have Marlon here. We have Mike. Chris is out. He got knocked out of playoff contention, and he's not here. Coincidence? I think not. Anyways, we got Jose, otherwise known as Vino Poppies, filling in for him today.
Sir.
Mike,
All right.
hit it.
Let's get into last week's recap, man. The first game up was Dem Lions. They went up against yours truly, Gridiron Throne, and beat them by about 30 points. The score was 162 to 192.
Damn.
I felt pretty good about this victory, man. I was projected to lose this week. I was going up against the number one team in the league, and I knocked them out of first place, man. They had a really good week. They didn't have a bad week or anything like that, but my team just overperformed, and I feel good about it.
He had a key injury as well. Thielen went out early.
Yeah.
Thielen had no points whatsoever, so Thielen went early.
That was a bad break.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous the whole time because his team is so stacked, man. Like anybody on his team could go off at any given week, and
he had Stafford. Stafford put up 48 points, and McCaffrey put up 46 points.
Yeah.
But Thielen, like we said, gave him a goose egg because he got hurt. And, San Francisco actually didn't put up too many points as well. Yeah. So I think that was the key to victory.
And then Russell Wilson.
You absolutely put up, your the highest number of points this week. You put up 192. So, it was a great victory for you. You knocked them Lions off of the number one spot. Yeah. So that's a great victory for you, man, for sure.
Yeah. Feel really good about that. So next up, we had Over Easy. They scored 125 this week, and they went up against Vino Poppies. Vino Poppies got the victory. They scored 148 this week. How do you feel about this?
I think that's win number 4 in a row for you, huh?
Man.
You're rolling, man. You're rolling.
Honestly, it was still even up until like the very last game of Sunday. It was still any man's person because she had fucking Amari Cooper and Saquon, who easily could have put up enough points to beat me, like easily. But I don't know what the fuck happened to Saquon, dude. I was actually pretty surprised.
I was watching the game. They underutilized Saquon. I think they didn't really hand him the ball. When they did. Yeah, he had a pretty good run. Yeah. But yes, Haley was pretty upset. Over Easy was pretty upset. Tevin Coleman only put up 5.6 points for her. I'm sure she would have rather started Jordan Howard instead.
Yeah.
But no, Jose Vino Poppies is rolling at the moment. Kirk Cousins put up 27. Emmanuel Sanders put up 29. Williams put up 26 for you. And then everyone else kind of had, decent games. Chris Carson had 18. But yeah, man, how does it feel to get your 4th victory in a row? You were, a month ago, you were not even thought of as having
fucking 0-5, bro. I was Delfino Poppies.
Delfino Poppies.
Yeah, man. Delfino Poppies no more. But good, man. I think I was expecting Williams because I needed a filler for Julio Jones to give me at least, I was like hoping for his, dude, he was averaging at least like 11 to 12 points a game. So that's honestly all I was expecting. I thought maybe a little more upside with, the fact that they're playing the Jets. But, he fucking came through, and I was lucky that he got fucking hurt towards the end of the game and not when I actually needed him. So,
yeah.
I'm sure he's crying in his hospital bed, right?
Our trade, Mike, also helped out. I think, because we did the Carson Waller trade, so he put up, he got me 18 points as well.
Yeah, Waller did he did okay for me.
Respectable for a tight end, right?
Yeah, tight ends have been so hit or miss this season, so as long as he can produce at least that many points a week, I'll be okay with that. So the next game, third game of the week last week was cross-faded. They scored 149. They went up against Las Vegas United. Tom got the win with 182.
Damn.
A very respectable 149, though. That was
for sure. I think I was talking shit at the beginning because I was just blowing him out. He's my brother. I crossfaded, and so I was texting him. I was like, "Hey, bro, what happened? I thought you were good." And and I was on a flight and I got back in and then I checked the score and he was like, oh shit. And he sent me a text like, hey, I'm steadily creeping in. And I was like, nah, bro, you're done. And thank God Ezekiel Elliott didn't go off. But yeah, he did okay. But the Dallas defense performed for me. They got me 18 points. So even if Zeke would have had a monster game, I still would have won. But yeah, 149 is no slouch of a score. I just overperformed for sure. My boy, no longer. That's his nickname is no longer. Zach, no longer the squirts Ertz. He actually scored 30 points for me.
Yeah, he had that long touchdown, didn't he?
For sure. Devin Singletary scored 24. Kenny Galladay's doing Kenny G kind of things, 31. And DJ Moore had 22 points for me. And it was good for me to not to see my team not rely so much on Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook had a 15.6 point game. So it wasn't his best game of the season. I think it was like his worst actually. And just to see that my team perform without him doing well is great.
You're fucking Dallas D.
Yeah, Dallas D. I mean, I dropped them already. I picked them up. I streamed that D. I knew it was going to be a win for them. And so that's why I did it. But Crossfaded, man, what really got them up there in points was that overtime game in Seattle.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
So he has Metcalf. Metcalf, I think, was the number 2 receiver on the week. And so yeah, man, he was able to do some damage there and kind of make it closer than it was.
Yeah. So our next matchup of the week was the Lady Boys going up against As and Titties. It was probably Ladyboys' closest game of the season, but they still got the loss. They still got the loss, and they're still doing pretty shitty.
Yeah, that's a respectable score for him, man. 137 from compared to what he's been putting up.
Streaming 2 tight ends.
Yeah, he had his MVP was Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar's keeping him in games. Let's be real here. Lamar Jackson is keeping him in games. But yeah, man, he played 2 tight ends, and we called him out for it in the show last week. And Andrews is the guy we specifically called out, and that dude scored 4 points for him. So, you could have started.
You had Samuels.
Why didn't you stand Samuels?
Zach Pascal.
Pascal had 25. I mean, he had options, and he opted for 2 tight ends. Yeah, not a good look. Not a good look. But Aston Titties, I think it's his 3rd win in a row. And he's doing well. He's up there.
Yeah,
for sure. Lockett was 56 points.
Yeah, man. Seattle just put up they had a great fantasy performance last week. All right, so Chris, he's out this week. He got sick, but the Bad Hombres put up 117 against Marlins. Culo and Santo put up 152.
A solid 152. You forgot to add the solid.
In there.
Yeah, a rock hard 152.
How you feeling about that victory?
The bonerized 152.
Honestly, Mike Evans went off for me this week. I also opted for Winston instead of Tom Brady, and I'm glad I did. I mean, not that it would have made a huge difference. I'm also glad that I was honestly scared of Stephon Diggs, that he was going to have a big game, because you know how he can just have like a super monster game. And luckily he had one of those games. Luckily for me, he had one of those games where he just did nothing really.
Yeah, for sure.
And there was an interesting trade that went on that Thursday or Friday, I believe, between that's how Bad Hombres got Stephon Diggs. He traded DeAndre Hopkins away for Stephon Diggs and Mark Ingram to over Easy. So yeah, that's what I guess. It's kind of weird seeing like a team, and I guess Marlon, you can kind of explain like you see these guys like the day before, like holy shit, his roster changed. Like what did you think when you saw those players on his roster at that point?
When I saw Diggs come up, I was like, oh damn, dude. I saw Diggs. I saw that he had put Eckler because Gordon hadn't been doing much, and I was like, shit, I was lucky. I felt lucky that the Rams were on a bye, but at the same time, I looked at that roster and it was pretty stacked, but 2 of his wide receivers just didn't even cross the 10-point mark. So and most of my games were at noon. So I had most of my receiving core just had played, and they performed. They were like single digits. So, and then all of a sudden the Tampa Bay game happened, and I was just like, boom! I was just up in cloud 9 or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm looking at your score here. Yeah, Mike Evans had 52, and then like everyone else did decent, and that's all you need, right?
They did okay,
if someone puts up 50 points, then everyone just needs to be decent, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and I'm super glad that Vance McDonald had a good game too. I mean, not stellar, but it was a good game. A good decent replacement from the pool that we had to pick from off the waiver. He honestly was pretty much the best option, the best option that I had to step in for Hooper.
Yeah, for sure. You're one of those other games. As soon as I got on my flight, I checked the scores, and Chris was projected to win like 56%. And then I landed. I landed an hour and a half later, and it was like Marlon, and Chris's chances were like 10%. I was like, holy shit, dude. So you know, you hate to see it happen, but he's pretty much knocked out of contention at this point.
And I was nervous about Gallup too, because Gallup is one of those players that could just have a big game. He's always projected for barely over 10 points, and then he'll have like a monster blowout.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
All right, man. Last game of the week was Defensor Fortis going up against Flint Tropics. Defensor Fortis it was a pretty weak performance, but he had so many players on bye. Yeah. Tropics also had one of his weakest performances of the season, but he still got the W. So that's all that really matters.
He also opted to play DD Westbrook. Yeah, I think both guys that were in that position, they didn't want to drop anybody. I texted my brother, Defensor Fortis. I texted him and I was like, "Hey man, are you just gonna put someone on IR and pick someone off of waivers to play this game?" And he was like, "No, man." He's like, "I don't want to drop anybody. I can't really put anybody on IR." He's like, you got to risk it to get the biscuit. He told me. So
hey,
let's see if that. What's up?
Do you think that knowing? Okay, so if I were him, knowing the way that Tropics team has performed in the past weeks, that he was like, you know what, I'm gonna lose this anyway. I might as well not drop anybody. Yeah. But to know that he could have just swapped out like two guys maybe and possibly won it.
Yeah. But I was looking at his roster, and he really couldn't have dropped anyone. And I guess he just wants to ride out with the roster that he has and not, lose any pieces.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Two low scoring scores. Like Tropics usually scores well over 126, and Defensor Fortis usually does a lot better than that as well. So, yeah, man. You got to gamble sometimes.
Yeah. It was a strategic decision.
But I did tell him, I said everything's going to come down to the wire at the very end of the season. You might be gambling a little bit too much.
Yeah,
like I don't know if I would take that gamble for sure.
Each week matters. So those were last week's games. You want to talk about the playoff picture and standings?
For sure. Let's get into the standings first. We have Dem Lions at 6-3 first place in the Earth Division. He has 1659.76 points on the year. Still leads the league out of all teams.
That's dirty, man. That's filthy.
Yeah. That's a lot of points. Second place in the Earth Division is Defensor Fortis. He's 5-4 on the year. He has 1177.7 points. Third place in the division is yours truly, Las Vegas United, 4-5, 1232.2 points. And fourth in the division is Vino Poppies, also at 4-5, 1159.36 points. So this division's actually pretty interesting now.
Anyone can win this division right now.
For sure. I think the first half of the year, the win division was kind of like that one where everyone was like, oh, man, it's going to come down to the wire. All the teams are balanced. Yeah. And I think as the season has progressed, obviously, Dem Lions is 6-3, and then Jose and myself are 4-5 on the back end, and then Defensor Fortis is sandwiched in between us with 5-4. So, we're 2 games back. Defensor Fortis is 1 game back. So, yeah, this is up for grabs, and we're going into division games in a couple of weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, for sure.
So the win division, first place is Aston T, his 3-game winning streak. He's 6-3, 1306.9 points on the year. Second is Crossfaded. I beat his ass last week. He falls to 5-4, 1228.58 points. Third is Over Easy. She had a loss. She's 4-5, 1306.30 points. And then last but not least in that division is Bad Hombres. 2-7, 12-29 points, 16 points. That all but seals the deal for him in terms of playoffs. Even if he won out, he wouldn't get a 500 record or better. He's pretty much done for. Sorry, Chris. We love you. And the fire division, the final division, is the Flint Tropics, 6-2-1. They're respectable. Took a win. He gambled and he won this week. The Gridiron Throne, Mike, 5-3-1, 1379.6 points. Then third in that division is Culon Santo, Marlon, 5-4, 1312.86 points. He racks up another win. And he's in striking distance. You guys have the same amount of wins. You guys both have 5 wins. Yeah. But that's high saving your ass.
Right, man. Yeah, for sure.
And then finally,
I was gonna say, hey Marlon, I was rooting for Chris last week. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, it's cool, man. All's fair in love and fantasy, bro.
They had us in the first half. Not gonna lie. But,
I actually thought he was going to do pretty good too after that San Francisco game, because I thought Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be a decent streamer, but he fucking went off with Saunders. Thankfully for me too, but yeah, I was just oh shit, he's probably going to pull one over on Marlon, but you got it. So
the Arizona defense is so bad. So any quarterback that's going up against them, pick them, because those motherfuckers are going to go off.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, back to the standings. The last team that we're going to mention is the last team on the list. It's in the standings, in points. You love to hate them. It's the Bangkok Lady Boys. They're 1-8, 34.92. Yeah, he was done a couple of weeks ago, and now Chris joins him at the bottom of the barrel. And let's take a look at the playoff standings. So what do we have here? So actually, Defensor Fortis gets dropped out. He was the 5th seed or the 4th seed last week. Culon Santo, Marlon comes up. He's the 5th seed. He'd be playing the number 4 seed, which is Mike, the Gridiron Throne. So that's a divisional matchup in the wild card if we went into the playoffs today. On the other side of the bracket would be Crossfaded at the 6th seed and Ass and TDs at the 3 seed. And the 2 buys are still reserved for the Flint Tropics and the Dem Lions. And Dem Lions, they swapped seeds though. Tropics were 2 last week. Dem Lions were 1, but now it's verse. And so, yeah, I mean, pretty much it's the same teams except for Culon Santo coming in and Defensor Fortis moving out. So still pretty close. Like I said, it's a race.
Pretty fluid. It's pretty fluid.
It's happening. It's happening, man. I'm within that striking distance. I'm like,
You're gonna stay behind it. You're gonna stay a little behind.
We'll see.
All right, man. See. So, in honor of our missing Chris, we're gonna get into our segments, and this is his favorite segment. Who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck
is that guy?
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
There we go.
All right, in Chris's case, where the fuck is that guy?
All right, man. So our who the fuck is that guy of the week is his name is Preston Williams. I have no idea who he is, but apparently he plays for the Miami Dolphins. He had 5 catches for 72 yards and 2 TDs last week for 26 fantasy points. And he's also now on IR.
Out for the season. Yeah, dude.
Out for the season.
So, I'd like to submit an honorable mention to the black cat that ran onto the field during the Cowboys-Giants game. Who the fuck was that cat?
The fucking announcers, bro. They're like, dude, this cat just ran more yards than the Giants.
Before they showed the cat, when they're saying this cat, I thought they were talking about some dude like running on the. Look at this cat running on. They're like this black cat, and I was like, whoa, bro, whoa.
Oh, look at his perfect form. Look as he glides up and down that field. Yeah, that's a good. Who the fuck is that guy?
Meow.
Yeah.
All right, so our squanderer. I think we have a few squanderers this week, but I'm gonna go with the Lady Boys because they actually could have gotten a win this week, and they made some terrible roster decisions, and they're still on their losing streak.
If you listened to the pod last week or this episode last week, if he would have paid attention, he could have made the change. He could have won the game. And if he doesn't listen, then you should listen to somebody, bro, because it ain't working out.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Bed shitter of the week. I have a couple candidates here. I have Stephon Diggs and I have Aaron Jones. What do you guys think?
Aaron Jones, man. I think the Packers didn't try. I don't know why they didn't try involving him more. And I think that they didn't get him involved and they lost the game. So there's something there.
Yeah, for sure. No talent pussy of the week. This was a little bit of a surprise because I wouldn't have expected this team to end up here, but it happens to the best of us. Defensor Fortis, they're the no talent pussy of the week. Hey,
he didn't play. He had 2 buys on his starting roster. He didn't want to swap anybody out. His fucking bench was full of buys. He didn't have any straight position swaps, and he didn't want to pick anybody up. So, sucks, man. He chose the no talent pussy. He chose it.
It was a no talent pussy, but at least he listened.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so pouring them out. For sure, we got to pour one out for Preston Williams. He has a career game, and gets put immediately on IR.
So Preston Williams. It was over before it started.
Preston Williams, to your hopes and dreams.
Yeah, there you go. You'll always have this one game. You'll always have week 9. And the only other major injury was Adam Thielen, so we'll pour one out for him too.
It's a hammy. He'll be back. It was
he'll be back.
The same injury a couple weeks ago. It's just
not a lot of notable injuries this week, so that's probably a good thing.
Definitely a good thing. But I mean, let's talk about all the buys that are going on this week, man. There's fucking 6 teams on buy. That has a huge implication for a lot of us, man. So we'll see how the teams this week.
Yeah, we'll see who next week's no talent pussy of the week is. All right, big cock on the block is yours truly for the second time of the season. Tom got close though. Tom got
close. You're right there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty close.
Just barely.
Just barely.
I don't care about no big cock on the block. I want the title, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, when I saw Mike Evans' score, I was like, oh man, it's gonna happen yet again. But by that time, I looked at everybody else's matchups and people had blown up, and I was like, nah, dude, get out of here.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess we can get into next week's matchups, right?
Yes, sir. First up, we got Crossfaded going against Vino Poppies. How are you feeling about this coming week, Vino?
Pretty solid. Lucky for me, he has Watson out. Who else does he have? He has Lindsay out, Angelor out, and so he's having to. It looks like he only had to put in, I think, like 2 streamers. It looked like, but still, statistically, which you don't ever trust. Look good on paper, but I mean, ultimately, kind of have to see.
Yeah. I think Vino, you have probably the better matchups for sure. He doesn't have Deshaun Watson, who's like such a huge contributor to that team. But you never know. But he has been underperforming, I think. And so, like I said, I said that a couple weeks ago, and that's why I was confident with this game, even though he's put up 150 almost. Mm-hmm. And you never know with his team. He's got some guys.
Yeah, the only thing, like I said, I mean, besides a couple of streamers, is really just the matchups, like how you just mentioned, because he has Beckham and Landry against Buffalo.
The Browns are so Browns right now,
Yeah. Metcalf against San Francisco, so yeah.
All right. This week I'll be going up against As and Titties, Radar Throne versus As and Titties. It's projected to be a close matchup, but I'm hoping to continue my win streak and put myself closer to the top 2 seeds, so I can get that playoff bye.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good matchup with 2 pretty good teams that have 2 really good records in our league. And we'll see, man. I'm interested to see it. It's projected to be really close as well. He has, I mean, you have Waller playing tonight, so we'll see how he does. But yeah, man, it's a really good matchup. I think both of you guys have decent matchups, and so it's going to be really close. I'm excited to see this one because this one kind of helps with the wild card seeding also.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so the next game is going to be pretty irrelevant. We got Lady Boys going up
It's
against
the garbage bowl.
Race.
It's the garbage bowl.
This game doesn't mean anything to anybody except their own.
It's not even a bowl. It's the trash can.
Bro, this was me like a couple weeks ago when it was me and Boo. We were both like 0-5 or something.
Hey, they're playing for last place right now. They're playing for 11th place right now.
It was crazy.
Yeah, man. That's I mean, next year, like Chris talked about last week, there are some you have to win, man. There are some implications if you suck, and so this year not so much, but next year you definitely don't want to be number 12.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not really bragging right. They're not playing for bragging rights. They're playing for like shame deflection.
You're trying to be less shitty. I'm less shitty than you.
One of these may be the no talent pussy of the week. Keep your eye out. All right. Next, the next game is actually probably the biggest game of the week. Tropics going up against Dem Lions, man. 1-2. So they're playing for first.
This could be a preview of the championship. It's a really good game. The top two teams over the course of the season thus far. It's interesting because say Dem Lions wins and you win, Mike, then I think you go into the 2 seed most likely. So it's definitely, there's some definite implications behind this game as well because, let's face it, these guys have been really, really good all year. And
they're both coming off underperformances though. Flint Tropics got a win, but they definitely underperformed last week. So I'm really interested to see how these teams perform this week.
You know what? These Yahoo projections, we always say like, fuck them, they're stupid, but Dem Lions is always projected to score so many points, man. It's crazy. This week as well. He's projected to score 30 more points than Flint Tropics is. So It's interesting.
We'll see how that goes.
Yes, sir. Then we coming up, we also have Defensor Fortis against Over Easy. They're both on the outside looking in. So we'll see who can get the W this week.
But
I think they're both on the outside looking in, but they're both respectable teams. They got good rosters. They're on the fringe. If one of them gets a win, they're right there in playoff contention. They might get a spot depending on how the other games go.
Yeah.
So this is a really big game as well. I think Over Easy, she has Matt Ryan. It's questionable, but she also has Phillip Rivers on the bench, who has an excellent matchup against Oakland. But we'll see, man. It's gonna be a great matchup. And
I think she needs to win a little bit more than Defensor Fortis. But I mean, they both kind of need this one. This is a pretty critical week for both of them.
I'm hoping that Over Easy wins, just because Defensor Fortis is in my division, and so if he loses and I win, then we're level.
Yeah, and I think you would actually overtake him because of the points.
Yeah, based off of points. If I score, if he doesn't go crazy this week,
Yes, sir. And last game of the week, we have a rivalry here. We have Las Vegas United.
Intercartel.
We have Las Vegas United going against Culon Santo.
6 versus Air, baby.
Yeah. Talk some shit.
All right, so I know I'm projected to win, but I'm looking at your roster, Tom. I'm scared of Galladay, just because he's a sneaky bastard.
Yeah,
he's a sneaky bastard. There's a few
about
people here
Galladay.
that I'm afraid of him.
Galladay either scores 6 points or 35. There's
no in between. So I'm hoping it's one of those 6 days.
But he scores 35 points more often than he scores 6.
Yeah, he's averaging out pretty well.
But what I think helps him out is that the Lions lost their starting running back, and so now all they do is fucking throw the ball. So if that continues, then Galladay should see a lot of targets this week again.
So I'm hoping that Mike Evans has the Arizona D along with Winston, so I'm hoping that they're going to have a monster game.
Yeah,
that's sweet. I'm absolutely terrified of those two because Evans put 56 up on the Seahawks, and the Seahawks don't have a great defense at all, but they're going up against the worst passing defense in football. What I'm hoping for is that Patrick Peterson is locked up on Mike Evans. That maybe can help me. We'll see, man. It's going to be tough, man. I'm really terrified. I think Evans can go off again because Evans has like multiple 50-point games this week. He's the number one wide receiver in all of fantasy football, and he put a goose egg up one game, and he had a bye week already, and he's still the number one receiver, which is insane. But yeah, bro, and I'm scared of Marlon Mack, man. You got Marlon Mack against Miami.
Yeah, against Miami. He might tear it up.
Miami's trash. My workhorse, Dalvin Cook, is going up against Dallas, so that's a pretty good defense. I had to stream a tight end this week. We'll see how it works out. The matchup looks great on paper, but it's O.J. Howard. He hasn't done shit until this point in the season. But if he's going to have a breakout game, it's probably going to be this week. So we'll see, man. Otherwise,
it'll be exciting, man. Definitely.
I definitely feel like Marlon, you probably have the better matchup, so that's why I'm scared. But again, I have faith in my players. So
I've been burned so many times with my receivers, man. Like with Tyler Boyd, he makes me nervous because it's every week, man. He's projected to do like high amount of points, but the last like 3 weeks or so, he's just like there's nothing there. It's pretty ridiculous.
Both of us, man. Because we got Finley in there. Right, and even AJ Green, who actually is not even going to play anymore, probably out for the season. But yeah, man, even there's still some possibility for Tom with a couple of these, because I'm
not saying I'm going to lose. I'm saying he has better matchups. Marlon, your receivers, you say your receivers have burned you all year. Well, I hope you have third degree motherfuckers on you.
Well, luckily one of them is John Brown, so I'll be able to at least make an effort to neutralize Allen on your team. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. So those are next week's matchups.
A lot of big games, man. A lot of big games.
This is a really big week. This is a big week.
For sure. I think moving forward, it's going to be every week is going to be so
critical.
Like,
it's going to be
everyone wants to win. Even the top 2 seeds can't afford to lose anymore. We're in the thick of it, man. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So that's gonna be it, I think, guys.
Shout out to Poppies for joining us this week.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, Jose.
We'll see you guys next week.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck, except for you, Marlon. Good luck, guys.
Likewise, bro.